Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. Today, Mock Madness continues as we dive into the AFC West and the NFC West. And a little bit of housekeeping, we're going to stretch Mock Madness into Thursday as well, and we're going to give you the AFC North and NFC North and push back the Edge Rusher Couch Scout to our only episode next week. So that'll be our Tuesday show. That's Nick. I'm Theo. This is the Drafted Up Podcast. How you doing today, my friend?
Doing good, man. Decent weather today. We're getting there. Spring's here. We're rolling. We're just living, dude. We're here.
Yeah.
Defensive ends next week. Getting into the defensive side of the ball. We're cruising.
Defensive end and 3-4 outside linebackers for you, because you still categorize them as separate entities. Yeah, yep. And I'm still categorizing them as just edge rushers. Don't worry, it's super confusing. There was one of the NFL guys didn't have one of the big name dudes in his rankings. They're like, where the hell? It was Ruben Bain. He didn't have Ruben Bain in his edge rushers. He has them listed separate. He does edge rushers and defensive ends. So
that's crazy.
Who knows what that man be doing? Confusing everybody.
He's
like,
very
I want to rank Ruben Bain as number one, but not the number one edge rusher. So for the Couch Scouts, when we get into the edge rushers, it will be 4-3 defensive ends, 3-4 outside linebackers, that sort of jazz. But you ready to dive into these mocks? We got 8 of them for you here today. We're going to start off with the number one pick, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Pick uno. First pick of the draft. The pick that everyone's known for 2 months at this point, I would say. It's been Mendoza.
Yeah.
It's definitely earlier in the process than last year with Cam Ward. Like Cam Ward was early, but it wasn't as early as Mendoza.
Right after the combine, it really was just like, okay, Cam Ward's going 1 to the Titans. But yeah, Vegas, and I feel bad for Raiders fans because anyone who, if they get stuck listening to a 1-round mock draft, they get no real talk on their team. It's just, hey, they're picking Fernando Mendoza and you move on to the Jets.
Yeah, the draft really does start at 2, but hey, they're in luck though because we're doing 3 rounds. So we get pick 36 and then pick 64. So hell yeah.
All right, let's enter this draft. We're not doing trades here. We're going to start this draft up. Number one pick. Nice and easy. Fernando Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana. The Raiders need a quarterback, obviously. The only quarterback on the roster is Aiden O'Connell. And Fernando Mendoza, we'll get into him more deeply, but he's been the clear-cut guy, like you said, for a little bit now. Good size. Mm-hmm. He stepped up improvement-wise from Cal to Indiana this past year, so that's a good snag there for Vegas at 1. If they believe he's that dude, you take him and don't bat an eye.
Yeah, he is by far the best quarterback in the draft. So I get it. He's going to go pick 1, and I don't love Mendoza, obviously, but at the end of the day, he's the best quarterback in this draft. He's the one that gives them the best chance to succeed. So I get him going 1. I personally don't. Michael, I would take Cam Ward over him. And Cam Ward came out last year in a particularly weak quarterback class, but I have him around the same range that I have Jackson Dart, who I really liked. I like Jackson Dart because people really didn't love Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart was never really projected to go first. Mendoza's the easy one, so I think he should go mid to late first compared to the first overall quarterback. But in this quarterback class, I get Mendoza is leaps and bounds better than any quarterback prospect in this draft.
I have a similar grade on Mendoza that I had on Cam Ward, but I do have Cam Ward slightly higher. I think he has a better ceiling than Mendoza, but I do think Mendoza has a good floor.
I agree. I think he has almost a better floor than Cam Ward, but I think Cam Ward has such a good ceiling, a good ceiling on Cam Ward, and Mendoza he's a good leader, but I do think Cam Ward also edges him out in that spot. Like Cam Ward was like an absolute leader. He crushed every single interview. Teams were fighting to get pick 1 if he didn't go pick 1. So like I said, I would just lean Cam Ward. But at the end of the day, I get if people like Mendoza more.
Yeah, we're not going to do too much. Like, we're not going to do a quarterback couch scout this cycle just because of the lack of depth at the position. So eventually we will have like a couch scout rapid fire where we'll kind of just round off our rankings and talk about a guy here and there. But we were not going to do a full dive into the quarterback class. So now we're at pick 36. Vegas has a ton of needs, and the board's nice here. Caleb Lomu, really young offensive tackle from Utah. He's still here. Raiders do have a need at tackle. Christian Miller, the defensive tackle, also on the board. I really like that here. Same with Lee Hunter. I think both guys this is kind of the range they go. I do think there's a chance Christian Miller goes first round, more so than Hunter. But I like those guys. The wide receiver board is nice. Chris Bell. But I think with the depth of the receiver class, we can probably pull off a receiver in the third round, and we target either Christian Miller, Caleb Lomu, or potentially even look at an edge rusher. Because as of now, Max Crosby still is a Las Vegas Raider, but you're going to need more than Max Crosby, and the edge board is nice right now. But I would lean Lomu or Christian Miller if I had to send the card in.
I would lean offensive line. So I would lean Lomu if we had it down to those two guys. Colton Hood I would also be considered into the running here. I think he's going to go late first, early second. And the Raiders do have a need at corner. I know it's not listed on PFF, but I think the Raiders are in desperate need of a corner. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. They're hurting, but
yeah, I'm cool going Lomu. He's, got left tackle experience, a little bit at right, but Raiders do need a tackle, and he's redshirt sophomore, so he's like 20, 21 years old, big size, 6'6", 308. And the Raiders are in the place where they can pick a developmental like tackle, because they're not a win now team where they got to plug and play a guy. They can put in a guy and he can either sit for half the year or come in, eat his lumps, and develop that way. So Lomu does fit the scheme here for Vegas in terms of they can pick a developmental guy. They're not in a win now situation.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's just the way you run an organization is you get a rookie quarterback and then you do everything that you can to protect that kid and fill him up with weapons. They already got Bowers. They got Genty. They can add a receiver later in this draft, but you got to get a really good offensive line in front of that kid. So I think offensive line is the way the Raiders should probably go if one of them falls to them at 36.
Yeah. 67. So we did go Caleb Lomu, the offensive tackle there from Utah. 67. Let's see here. Look at the corner board. It's decent. Let's look at edge and interior with the wide receivers as well.
Surratt's still there?
Elijah Surratt is still here, and that is Fernando Mendoza's guy at Indiana. So, Mendoza, if they ask him, like, hey, is Surratt that dude? And, double-digit touchdowns, big touchdown producer. They got that chemistry. Like, Surratt actually went to Mendoza in the offseason before their national championship run, was, like, showing them Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams tape, and, like, this is what we got to do. And they perfected their craft. So I'm not going to argue against Elijah Surratt. I do like Traden Stukes. He can play a little nickel, play a little safety, can play some corner as well. So he gives them a versatile piece on the defensive side. But I think we just go the fun route and take Surratt here on a team that needs weapons. And like you said, build around your rookie quarterback, and then next year's draft you go in and you focus on fixing your defense.
Yeah, no, I would be cool with Surratt, but just real quick, who are the top interior defensive linemen? I did see the one right there.
Big Citrus, I think, was the top one. Dominic Orange, yeah, and then Daryl Jackson, Rashawn Benny, Dante Corleone.
Yeah, none that I would really jump to picking here at 67. But yeah, I'm cool with Surratt. Like we just keep mentioning it. In order for a rookie quarterback to succeed, you really have to do everything you can to just give him all the weapons, get him an offensive line that's like one that can hold a pocket. If you can give a rookie quarterback a good pocket, he is going to develop very nicely. So you just got to keep Mendoza on his feet. So I think at the end of the day, I really like these 3 rounds here for the Raiders. We got Mendoza, a nice weapon to add to Bowers and Genty, and you got another offensive lineman, which they've gone out. They got a couple in the free agents. So the Raiders have had a really decent offseason where they're putting together a nice squad, good coaching staff. They're going to get Mendoza, and then you just got to build around Mendoza. So the draft's really important for the Raiders. Like this is a really, really important next couple months. They got to really lock in and get their scouting department right.
Yeah, and I've brought it up on the podcast before. Like, one of the strong points of the Kubiak offense is the fact that he could kind of take an average offensive line and make them a little bit better. And that was the concern in Seattle, was like how bad their line was going into the season. Kubiak came in and he made them net average, and he did it in New Orleans as well. So his scheme, his system kind of benefits that. But there we go. PFF did love this draft for the Raiders. So we got Fernando Mendoza 1, the obvious pick. Caleb Lomu in the second round, good value there. And then Elijah Surratt to round out the third, giving us a weapon for Mendoza, his guy from Indiana. So an A draft for the Raiders. Yeah, so you'll take that there.
I think if the Raiders walk away with those 3 guys in the first 67 picks, I think they'd be really, really happy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up is the Kansas City Chiefs. So we got 2 first-round picks here for Kansas City. So not a team that's going to be picking top 10 very often at the down year this year. So let's go here. Big offseason. They brought in Ken Walker. They just signed Travis Kelce to like a 3-year deal, a strange situation there. But I think it's more like if he comes back next year, that's his set contract, and then it'll cancel out if he retires or something. So we got 4 picks here in 3 rounds. We got 9, 29, and 40 and 74. So at 9, I think this is, either Maui Noah or Spencer Fanu. And then the other guy I'm going to throw out there is Mansour Delane from LSU. I know you don't love him, and
he's going to go way earlier though than I think he should go, which I get. But there's a lot of people that like him a lot.
I was worried about the athleticism, but he ran a 4.35 reported 40 at his pro day, so that wipes out any sort of athleticism. He to me is corner 1. I do love Jermon McCoy, but the fact that he hasn't played football in a year and a half, and he isn't doing any pro day testing, and didn't do anything at the combine, concerns me. And Mansour Delane didn't have to run, and he did. And I think that just solidifies him as the first corner off the board. The Chiefs traded Trent McDuffie. They lost Jalen Watson. They have a need at corner. So Mansour Delane is where I would lean here, unless you're pounding the table for someone else.
I'm actually not. I think cornerback or even safety is a bigger need for the Chiefs right now than offensive line. I think there's a chance they can get a developmental guy later in the first or even in the second, and a guy they can try to build off. I know they got what's his face last year or 2 years ago in the draft Simmons process. No, the developmental kid, they drafted him at the back end of the first. He shouldn't have been a first-round pick. You really liked him coming out. I forget his name. But he did not pan out. He was bad. I'm 100% blanking on his name. He was terrible. I hated him in the draft process. You had him way higher than I.
Kingsley Suamatea?
Yes, that's exactly who it was.
Last year was Josh Simmons. Yeah.
So I think there's a chance they could draft another one of them later in the second. I love the defensive back at this point. I think the Chiefs really need to lean in. They traded pretty much their whole secondary is gone at this point. So who's going to cover anybody at this point? Sure, you could bring up receivers in need or defensive ends in need, but I think the Chiefs' biggest hole is cornerback. So I don't love Delane going top 10, but I think there's a legitimate chance he goes top 10 just because, like you said, he's played football in the last year. He's going to be the first cornerback taken.
I think with that 4.35, now granted it was reported from his pro day, so it could be a little skewed.
Grain of salt.
I think his range now starts at 5 with you guys in New York. Like, I think there's a legitimate chance that you guys might bite the bullet and take Mansour Delane depending on how the board falls.
Nah, don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Nah. His window can open at 6, but God forbid if he goes 5, I will not be a happy Giants fan.
All right, so we went Mansour Delane. Pick number 9 there for the Chiefs. And now we're back up again at 29. This is the pick that the Chiefs got in the Trent McDuffie trade, and
I think
there's
the top 4 guys are legitimately in contention with this pick.
So Caden Proctor, Max Ianachor, offensive tackles. Proctor could probably play some guard as well. Denzel Boston, big body receiver. He's the type of receiver the Chiefs don't have.
Yeah.
And then you said top 4. I would even throw Peter Woods into the conversation here, but Caleb Banks and Peter Woods, I think, are both at play as Chris Jones gets older. Even Concepcion is in play here, one of these weapons. The board has fallen nicely here for Kansas City. I think I would lean Boston or Banks.
I would put Boston would be my one, but I would put
you'd put one of the tackles over Banks.
Yeah, I would put Alabama tackle Proctor above Banks, but I see the appeal to Banks. He's a developmental defensive end who could be developed nice in a Spagnuolo defense. Denzel Boston, though, with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce,
in a real life scenario,
Ken Walker.
I do believe Caleb Banks or Peter Woods could make it back to us at 40.
In a real world, I don't think Peter Woods goes first round.
Either do I. And
so
Banks,
I would
Banks
almost
has some
eliminate him.
Stuff, so
I think Banks still goes first, though.
Okay.
I think Banks is going to go before Woods.
I like going Denzel Boston here. I'm on board.
We have Boston, both of our top spots here for the Chiefs. So I think that's a really hot start for the Chiefs. They're getting my wide receiver like 3 or 4, dude. I love Boston. He's right in the range with all those other top guys. So I think that's a phenomenal pick. And Andy Reid's going to have a field day with him. He's such a big body.
Mm-hmm.
His contested catch rate is insane. He separates. His hands are strong. He's the type of receiver that team has not had for a long time.
Yeah. So none of the defensive linemen fell to us. Banks and Woods, they both went. And Ianachor also went. So did Proctor and Lomu. Not that we want to try to take Caleb Lomu again. There are chances we're going to repeat picks throughout this cycle. Because, I don't remember who we picked in 8 mocks that we ran last week. So we will try to differentiate, but be warned, there might be times where we do pick the same player twice. You brought up safety. I know AJ Halsey. I do remember us picking him last episode.
Halsey was for sure picked.
I do think he would be in play here. Your guy Eli Stowers, who I also believe we selected.
We did bring him up last week, but him in a backup spot to Travis Kelce, you could do a lot of fun stuff with those guys. And Denzel Boston paired with Stowers, that's a really fun pick, but I don't know if they would go tight end.
Yeah, I like Gabe Yakis a lot. Like I'm higher than him on consensus, and you'll hear that on Tuesday next week, where I have Yakis ranked in my line. In my edge rankings. I know the NFL seems to be high on the UCF guy, Malachi Lawrence. Dane Bugler, the athletics head draft guy, he put out a report like there's talks that Malachi Lawrence could go top 25. I'm not there with him, but I would think he's in play here as well. If we want to go the edge route, I don't like how the tackle board fell. Like
I would honestly be cool with either of the edges. Gabe Yakvis he's got 2 year sack production, 12 this year, 8 last season.
And he's a bigger edge, so you can play him on the line, you can play him standing. He does a little bit of both.
Yeah, he's like what, 260, 270 in that ballpark. So he's a bigger boy for sure.
Would there be a chance to go second wide receiver like Jeremy Bernard, who's kind of the opposite of Denzel Boston? We have the issues with Rashee Rice. Xavier Worthy can't stay healthy.
I would personally think they would go Stowers over Bernard if they went another weapon. I think Stowers would bring more to the table right off the bat as the backup tight end in that offense compared to just throwing Bernard into a receiver room that there's so many question marks.
Yeah. The NFL is probably going to like Danny Dennis Sutton I have him as like a fringe top 100 guy, so I don't love taking
I like
him
saying
in
his
this.
name.
Yeah, his name flows really nice off the
His
tongue.
name's fun.
Denny
Yeah.
Dennis Sutton, but here at 40 is a little bit much for me.
It's a bit of a reach in my eyes.
I would rank him the two edge guys and then Stowers. That would be my top three.
I would also go two edge rushers, Stowers, and then really it's a toss up after those three or four guys.
AJ Halsey's probably the next guy in play for me. So let's go with the Illinois edge rusher, Gabe Yakis. And then final pick here at 74 for the Chiefs as it simulates all the way down.
I think this one we can kind of lean pretty much anywhere: receiver, tight end, defensive back, offensive line. I think there's a lot of room to hit here with Kansas City.
Yeah, I
Ramsey
agree.
was up there. Max Klein was up there. Berg, Branch.
How about Kyle Lewis? He's kind of he's a little small to be a linebacker, a little big to be a safety. He could play some nickel, but Spagnola's all about
could have fun with him.
moving guys around. That Kyle Lewis kind of fits that bill.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that fit in the Kansas City defense for sure. I think that would be a fun pick for Spags. Which way have we gone so far? What's their draft looking like?
Yeah, so PFF added an undo pick button. Wow, could have used that years ago.
Shout out PFF.
Yeah, they're finally reading our emails. So pick 9, we went Mansour Delane, the corner from LSU. Pick 29, Denzel Boston, the receiver from Washington, and then pick 40 in the second round, Gabe Yakis, the edge rusher from Illinois.
Can you quick look at offensive line before we lock in a little trickery guy for Spags?
So the top tackle is Markel Bell from Miami, and he's huge, but he's way down the board. He's not even ranked in the top 100 for PFF. He's a big guy, like 6'9", 350. Huge, insanely big. Kalen Rutledge, guard from Georgia Tech, is the top-rated interior guy, and then the two centers, Lou and Heck. And then I'm not crazy about Jalen Farmer or Jake Slaughter here at 74.
I wouldn't mind one of those top three guys, Law, Heck, or Rutledge. But I do like getting Spags, a guy that he can move around a lot. Help out in the secondary a little bit. I'll also help with the tight end, covering tight ends in the middle.
And they lost Leo Chanel. I know, completely different players. Chanel more bigger framed, and I can't recall them signing anyone in free agency. They have Nick Bolton, who's pretty good middle linebacker, but Drew Tranquil really is the only other linebacker on the roster. So I don't hate going Kyle Lewis. I think that's a good play, and I think he's the type of guy who, like, a hands-on, multi-scheme defensive coordinator is going to really do best by him, and that would be Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, for sure. Getting a defensive coordinator that, like, knows how to use guys to their strength, that would be the key for him, and Spags is probably the best in the business of doing that. So.
All right, so there we go. Kansas City. Recap: we had Denzel Boston with our second first. Our first, we went with Mansour Delane.
Corner.
The corner from LSU. Second round, we went Gabe Yakis, the edge rusher from Illinois. And then with our last pick, we took kind of a versatile defensive piece in Kyle Lewis, the linebacker, nickel, safety, just gadget defensive guy from Pittsburgh. Let's see. Do PFF love our draft? A's. They did not like the Kyle Lewis pick, but B+ draft according to the PFF grading system. However that works, but they loved both first round picks, both an A. Gabe Yakis got a B-, Kyle Lewis a C. Nice little draft. Chiefs fans, shout out like what you would have went if you would have went a different edge, all that stuff. Same with Raiders fans. If there was a different receiver you wanted to target over Surratt, shout out in the comments like what route you would have went with your selections.
I think Kansas City's top three picks are going to look very similar to something like that, along the lines of a corner, a receiver, and maybe subbing in like an offensive line or defensive lineman, but it's going to be a lineman, and then I think it's going to be like a receiver and corner. It's going to be very similar to that. And then the Kyle Lewis pick, you really could have went anywhere with that 4th pick. It's Kansas City has like not a bunch of needs, but they have like a few holes they need to fill. So I think we filled one of the 3 or 4 holes that could be possibly taken. Hey, yo.
Oh, I forgot they drafted Noah Williams last year. I really liked him out of Cal. That's a nice corner crew. Noah Williams with Mansour Delane for the Chiefs. As we move on, next in the division would be the Los Angeles Chargers sitting at 22. So I know before we even hit the draft, I'm here just hoping Vega Ione, the guard from Penn State, falls to us at 22. That's the dream scenario for Chargers fans. Yeah. That's a no-brainer. Walk up the card. Sorry to be boring, guys, but that's the play. And unfortunately, he is not here, so we will have to pivot.
I like that. I'm not gonna lie. I like that a lot. Because offensive line is a huge need for the Chargers. Like, you've seen how bad they became when they lost both their tackles for a little bit. One for the season, and then Joe Alt missed a few games here and there. But, like, Justin Herbert was not the same quarterback when his offensive linemen were not out there playing their best.
No.
So in order for this team to really be the team they can be, it relies on the offensive line and Justin Herbert. So you got to keep that guy upright.
Yeah. Interior offensive line wise, it's Pregnon and Chase Basantes. I'm not picking either of them at 22. I like them, but
no, you really can't.
PFF has wide receiver as a need. I don't know if I'm like, the board fell nice for wide receiver, like Jordan Tyson and Omar Cooper Jr. are sitting here. So, okay. Blake Miller, I don't see guard potential with him. And then Caden Proctor, I just don't think him as a guard fits the Harbaugh style. So, like, I'm kind of wiping offensive line off the board here. And hopefully we can get one of those guys in the second. Caden McDonald in play. Caleb Banks in play. I like Peter Woods, but I agree with you. I don't think he goes first round, so I'm kind of wiping him off the board here. So if I'm going to press for a need, I'm going to lean Banks or McDonald. For fun, Tyson or Cooper, I don't know what the Chargers corner room looks like, because Jerron McCoy might be an interesting pick here. What are your thoughts?
I kind of like the Jordan Tyson pick. Like, I get we're hammering you need to build the offensive line. The offensive line board didn't fall. The edge board didn't really fall to the favor of this team right here. I think getting Jordan Tyson in there, he's way more reliable than Quentin Johnston is. He gives Quentin Johnston like a legitimate chance to be a slot.
Gonna have to pay Huge soon. He's gonna be entering that, whether you're picking up his option. And at this point, I would lean that the Chargers probably don't. So maybe future-wise, like, receiver does make sense as a need. It's just not a pressing need for this season.
And in my eyes, I love Ladd McConkey. I think he's a better number 2.
You also love Trey Harris, who they also have.
I love Trey Harris coming out. But Jordan Tyson could be a legitimate number 1 receiver in the NFL. And then he would open it up for Ladd to do what he can do. Quentin Johnston to be the deep threat in the offense. Tyson's a fun pick, but McCoy's a fun pick. I don't think they take Blake Miller because he doesn't have guard potential.
Yeah. Omar Cooper, I don't think he's in contention. He's kind of too similar to Ladd McConkey.
Yeah. So I also don't think Cooper would go before Tyson.
Yeah. The medicals would really have to not check out for Jordan Tyson to go after Omar Cooper. I almost said Amari Cooper. Yeah, I'm cool messing around with Jordan Tyson. Like, right now, it sounds like our top 2 guys for the board here are 2 guys with medical issues, being Jerron McCoy. And the Chargers do have a need at corner. It's just not listed.
They do.
Tariq Still and Cam Harder, they're 2 starting corners. You could upgrade. And then Jordan Tyson has his medicals. He misses time. But there's 2 years of productive tape despite the medicals for Jordan Tyson that I would lean to him over McCoy.
Yeah, I would also lean Tyson over McCoy for sure.
Okay, let's do it. That's a new one for the Chargers. So Jordan Tyson there at 22, and let's hope one of these guards here falls to us at 55.
55.
And anyone watching on video is really seeing me get pelt with the sun right now.
That natural light is whopping you in the face, dude. I'm like looking, I'm like, damn, this dude is bold for sitting where he's sitting right now when the sun's setting.
The guards
are rough, dude.
Yeah, that is something I would rather address in the third, unless there's like a tackle that we can convert inside. But
there's a good handful of tackles that you could slide in.
Tieran's not one of them. Like I'm not comfortable moving Tieran to guard 6'7", 325. And obviously you're not moving Markel Bell inside.
No.
I think this spot is, Malachi Lawrence or one of these corners. Like Traydon Stukes. You don't really need a nickel corner per se, because you got, Derwin James plays the nickel for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of could be redundant. Same with Keontae Scott, who I love from Miami, but similar player to Stukes. So Abney is more of a nickel guy to me, but he does have outside experience. But I think, like, after Malachi Lawrence, the edge board, I don't necessarily love. Like, I like Derek Moore, but he's pretty much the only other edge I would touch in round 2 besides Malachi Lawrence. And the NFL is going to be higher on Lawrence, like I brought up with the Chiefs. But this is the range where I'm comfortable taking Malachi Lawrence.
Yeah, I would lean Lawrence or Abney. Abney, most of his snaps came from the outside corner spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's probably very nickel in the NFL, but he's got a lot of time on the outside, so he's definitely got the experience. He doesn't quite have the build and the frame per se. He's 6 foot 190.
Yeah.
I like the Lawrence pick a little bit more. I think. I think he adds a lot to that defensive line that they're kind of missing at this point. So,
mm-hmm.
And then that gives us a chance to go corner or interior offensive line, depending on how the board falls.
Yeah, maybe we'll finally be able to get a guard for the Chargers.
I don't like our chances with this late in the draft. I'm not going to lie to
you. Billy Sharuth, real good athlete, but missed time this past year. He'd be fun, but this is I think he's more of a day three.
He's a day 3 guy. He's next rounder, the round after.
PFF's high on Jalen Farmer. He's not really my cup of tea. Like I don't think he's in my top 100 right now, as I'm kind of building that out currently, and I don't recall his name showing up yet. So
I would say he's a fringe top 100 guy, and we're at 86, so we're not incredibly out of the range of a fringe top 100 guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they just signed the Cowboys' old center, Badanez, but I can never pronounce his name, but obviously he's older. He was with Washington, and they let him go.
So we've gone corner we went edge and receiver.
Yeah. So what's the corner board looking like?
I would check the corner and the safety board.
I love Dalen Everett. Yeah, PFF has him at 89. I can tell you that guy's in my top 75. So he is my pick if I'm making it here.
Yeah, out of those corners, I would probably put him definitely at the top of the list. Real quick, just check the safeties.
Similar build to Keith Abney,
who I would have been cool with taking Abney last round.
Jennison Smith, the top safety here, he can't tackle like at all. Like I've never seen him try to willingly make a tackle. Zakee Wheatley's fun, but
Wheatley's fun.
I have him as he is in my top 100, so he is in range here. But I like Bud Clark more than both those safeties. Bud Clark is also in my top 70.
I would lean Dylan Everett, cornerback from Georgia, with this third pick here.
There we go. Sorry, Chargers fans, we did not get protection for Justin Herbert. Things did not fall as planned there for the Chargers, and hey, that happens.
Yeah, right off the rip, PFF should just be like, hey, you're getting like a C because you didn't get Herbert any interior
Yeah.
offensive line help.
Yeah,
But that's the way the cookie crumbles. The board falls. Like if it falls that way, there's no interior line. I'm not going to reach 20, 30 picks on an interior line. I'm not confident that's even going to pan out when I can get a corner that I can think is going to be all right, or an edge rusher I really like.
The ability, because Yone ended up going 19, I believe, to the Panthers in this scenario. I would have liked to trade up, but that's not an option with PFF. There's only you can only trade when it's your pick. But Jordan Tyson at 22, wide receiver from Arizona State, my number 1 receiver. I believe he was your number 3. Malachi Lawrence, the edge rusher from Central Florida, who we'll talk about probably next week at 55. And then Dalen Everett, the corner from Georgia, at 86. And PFF gave us an A-. Hey!
They like it.
A-, even though we got a C+ and a B. Again, I don't know how the PFF grading system.
Don't you question the grading system, brother. If they say we got an A-, goddamn, we got an A-. But I do like that for the Chargers. That would be a really good 1, 2, 3. The only thing you're missing is an interior line, and nothing's stopping them from trading into like the top 100 again. They get a 4th top 100 pick if their interior guy falls that they like, or they can make moves. They can figure something out, but I can guarantee they're not leaving after day 3 without an offensive lineman taken at some point in this draft.
No, absolutely not. Now we wait a little bit as we go to the division winner, the Denver Broncos.
I think they have one pick in the top 100.
They do, and it is pick 62. They traded their 1st and 3rd for Jalen Waddle. So we have the 62nd pick. I don't know if PFF has updated their need board because I'm not even addressing wide receiver. If I'm Denver, I have Jalen Waddle. I have Cortland Sutton. I have
Troy
Franklin, Marvin Mims. I'm deep at receiver now, so I'm not even looking that way. Though, man, Antonio Williams with Sean Payton. That might be something. Even Zachariah Branch, one of those small little gadgety guys. Deion Burks, I know you love him. Man, I wish Eli Stowers was here. That would have been an easy pick.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
All right, so I would be looking like tight ends, interior defensive linemen, corners, linebackers. I would say those are the 4 needs off the top of my head here for Denver.
So the interior defensive linemen are the same guys we talked about last week and already today: Grayson Holton, Dominique Orange, Daryl Jackson, Rayshon Benny. I do really like Caleb Proctor, but obviously not here at 62. He's right on the outside of my top 100. He kind of reminds me of Milton Williams. So real good player there. Treydon Stukes gives you nickel safety versatility on defense. Josiah Trotter's a thumper if you want to go that route. I don't think they addressed running back with J.K. Dobbins being back.
No, and drafting R.J. Harvey last year.
Yeah,
I don't think because they moved up to get R.J. Harvey. I don't think they can like invest that much into another running back in the second, especially when you have one pick in the top 100. That you cannot blow it on another running back, especially when you've already signed J.K. Dobbins to a contract.
Yeah. Had Dobbins not been there, I do think running back would have been in play here.
What about the corner from Ohio State? He's still on the board.
I hate that.
I know
guy.
you don't like him. I know you don't like him.
He is not a Theo guy. He is still here. Davison Igbinosun. He's not even in my top 100. So
he's a taller corner too. He's like 6'1", 6'2", and he's pushing 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. He fits the Denver defense pretty nice. I would lean corner here. I would go him or the corner from Arizona.
I would take Stukes over Igbinosun because of the versatility that I could play him in the nickel. I could play him at safety. And then, Riley Moss probably gone next year. So you figure Jedi Barron gone after 2026. He's a free agent. So Jedi Barron probably slides in as the number 2 then. And then that opens up the 3 spot. And Denver does have, not a pressing need at safety, but they could upgrade there. So we'll go with Treydon Stukes, the corner nickel safety from Arizona.
Yeah, I think, like we said, they have one pick in the top 100. So if you fail one of the needs,
with their only pick,
yeah, Denver's probably one of the only teams with like one pick in the top 100. So
probably could have done a 4th round just for Denver to get them more buzz, but it is what it is. Broncos fans, sorry, you get the short end of the stick here.
Sure, we can apologize to them, but they're also walking out of this draft class with
Jalen Waddle.
Waddle, exactly, and Waddle. I like the top 3 receivers. I liked Waddle coming out of college more than the top 3 receivers in this draft class. I can tell you that much. I loved Waddle coming out of college. He was one of the best receivers we scouted, and to get him for a 1st and a 3rd and a pick swap, hey, I think that's a phenomenal deal. And that also helps Bo Nix out so much. Like, Cortland Sutton's really good, but just like Ladd McConkey, Cortland Sutton's a really good number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. I don't think he's an alpha 1. Yeah, you could say what you want about Waddle. Waddle could be a 1. Like, Waddle has the talent, and the NFL obviously thinks that as well, because the team gave up a 1st and a 3rd for him when George Pickens, last year, was traded for like a 4th or a 5th, whatever it was. Dirt cheap Pickens was moved. The NFL sees Waddle for the talent that he is, so I respect it.
Yeah. So, Denver, we just had that one pick, 62. We went with Treydon Stukes, corner, nickel, safety guy from Arizona, kind of give us a little chess piece on the defense there for the Denver Broncos. Before we jump over to the NFC West, let's shout out our affiliates over at W Energy and Finley Hats. W Energy, it's good, built better. W Energy, be better. We got the yuzu, Japanese yuzu. We got the bleeding orange from Chainsaw Man here. It's good, clean energy, no artificial dyes, no sweeteners, jitterless energy, no crash. They're not like Big Energy. They're not putting you out there just to give you that quick high and then you fall down. No. W lasts. It's good, clean energy. Use the code DRAFTEDUP for a nice 10% discount on your purchase. That's at WDUBBY.GG, or you could download their app on your app store. That's W Energy. Be better. Eat that dub with W Energy. And then there's Finley Hats. Their hats are built for good times and long times. I got a couple here because I'm not wearing one today. Prepping for baseball season. Got the Phil's gear on. If your hat is damaged or destroyed, Finley will replace it or repair it absolutely free. They got free shipping across the U.S. They do weekly drops every Friday, so check them out over at Finley Hats. Use the link in the description, and you'll get 15% off your first purchase over there. So join the force over at Finley. All right, let's jump into the NFC West as we got another high pick here at the top of the board with the Arizona Cardinals at pick 3. I find this to be one of the more difficult picks to make in the draft. So this will be an interesting one here for Arizona.
Especially because it kind of matters what the Jets do it too. Like, the Jets could really go a lot of directions. They could go Styles. They could go Arvell Reese. They could go theoretically Ruben Bain. Not that I think they will, but David Bailey.
And we know PFF's going to give him Jeremiah Love like they did when we did Tennessee. No, they give him Ruben Bain.
Okay. Theoretically, yeah. I personally think Arvell Reese is going to.
I agree. So I think we should play that off that Arvell Reese isn't here. I do think he would end up going too. I do think there's a chance they end up just going with Moinoa and just drafting for need. And I like CeCe Moinoa. I think he's going to be a good right tackle. Like, I'm set on him at being a tackle in the NFL. He reminds me of Talise Fuanga a few years ago from Oregon State, who we really liked. And you liked him a lot. And I think Moinoa at right tackle, which is the prime spot the Cardinals need on the offensive line. I think they shift towards that, and maybe we draft Ty Simpson if he's there at 34, or maybe we're looking at 2027 just shoring up the line for our quarterback. But I would find it hard pressed to turn down, Sonny Styles or David Bailey, because I do like them a little bit more than I like Moinoa. But I do think there's a world where the Cardinals just draft for need and just take the offensive tackle.
I will play devil advocate because I
Okay.
think if Sonny Styles or Jeremiah Love is on the board, I think one of them are going pick 3.
Okay.
I think the Cardinals are sitting in a spot where they can get an offensive lineman at 34 because I do not think they're taking a quarterback.
Okay.
And to get a guy that can run your defense like Sonny Styles can would change the game for a quarterback. And then Jeremiah Love would also change the game for their quarterback. Sonny Styles can run the defense phenomenally and keep that defense in line to where Jeremiah Love will eat the rock and take a lot off the quarterback they bring in next season. I would personally lean one of those over Maui Noah. And I do also really like Maui Noah at the end of the day. I just don't know if he goes top 5.
Okay. Yeah, and that's absolutely fair. Because I really think if he does go top 5, it is just Arizona, even top 10 potentially. I don't think the Cardinals bring in a running back just because they still have James Conner. They restructured him. Trey Benson, as of now, still on this roster. And they signed Tyler Algier to a 2-year deal. So are we going to invest a top 5 pick on a running back when we spent on free agency and re-upped Connor a few years ago while also having Trey Benson? So if that's the scenario, I would go Sonny Styles, who's top player on my board. So you're not going to hear a lot of pushback on going Sonny Styles here.
I would also lean Sonny Styles just based off the fact that they put money towards Algier. And yeah, James Conner's still there, but he could easily be like a cap casualty, even though they restructured. They could still move on from him. And Trey Benson, it just seems like they've not given a goddamn care in the world about Trey Benson at this point. Completely different coaching staff. They've signed Tyler Algier. I don't think that Trey Benson's going to be an Arizona Cardinal.
I can't talk you into Ty Simpson here. But Caleb Banks is still on the board, and so is Christian Miller, and that is a need for Arizona, so I am content going there. Caleb Lomu also on the board if we do want to take a tackle. It would have been nice.
I know we don't want to like double up,
Blake
but I think Lomu would be the pick here with how the board has fallen, and me personally don't think they go quarterback. The Ty Simpson thing, I understand, and defensive line, like interior wise, is a huge need for this team. So if you don't want to double up guys with going offensive lineman with Caleb Lomu, I'm cool with going Banks or Miller, but I'm pretty sure we've taken both those guys at some point in one of these crazy mocks.
Yeah, I can't recall. I know we've brought up Banks and Miller a lot today because they were in play with Vegas. I want to say we ended up picking. I don't remember.
We definitely picked Banks last week, but that doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Yeah. And we're kind of on board that Banks probably. I think he could go second round. I think this is kind of 25 to 35 is kind of his range to me.
I agree. I think he's going to go back end of the first, early second, but I think Banks at the end of the day goes in the first, so to get him at 34 would be a really good value here for Arizona.
I was going to be like, could I talk you into all-around good football player Jacob Rodriguez, but we picked Sonny Styles in the first round, so we're not going to
double linebacker would be a choice for any team, any organization going double linebacker with their first 2 picks would be, hey, balls to the wall. We really want our linebackers to run this defense, so we're going to invest a lot of high draft capital into them.
I like Christian Miller a little more than I like Caleb Lomu, so I'm going to go that route here.
Now, would you go Christian Miller over Caleb Banks?
I actually have them back to back on my board. Like, there's literally no spot, so it depends. It would depend on how I'm feeling that day. I personally would probably lean Miller because I just don't think there's a lot of character or on field just like production issues with him. Could I talk you into a quarterback now with Garrett Nussmeier, who is criminally disrespecting you by PFF on 93? Because this is about where I have Nussmeier on my board. I have him in like the 60s to 70s.
I wouldn't be opposed to it for sure.
We could take a tackle now. Caleb Tieren's here.
I was gonna say
I'm fine with
Tiereman's there. He's he's a good tackle. He can get the job done. You're scrolling the big board. There's not a lot of guys that I would take besides Tillman. And if you want to talk me into Nussmeier, I would be cool with that only because it's Nussmeier. I like Nussmeier a lot. I like him way more than PFF. They have him at 95. I would say top 75. I would have him.
Arizona probably picks 104, 103. Your guy Carson Beck might be there at that pick, and I don't hate going Tiernan here, and then you getting Carson Beck at the top of the 4th round. So let's do that in this hypothetical. We'll take Caleb Tiernan here in the 4th or in the 3rd and give you a little bonus. If we were doing a 4th round pick, we would have went with Carson Beck, the quarterback from Miami, because I doubt Garrett Nussmeier would have made it out of the top 100.
Yeah, Nussmeier is probably not going to fall to the 4th. I think he ends up getting drafted in the 3rd only because of where he was projected last season. Yeah, he took a fall back, but at the end of the day, he still has the same brain that he had. He has a coaching. His dad's a coach in the NFL. He's got connections everywhere. One of these teams is going to like Nussmeier and the way he plays. He's just not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, PFF loved this draft. A-. Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State, with the 3rd pick of the draft. Christian Miller, the defensive tackle from Georgia, at pick 34. Then Caleb Tiernan, the offensive tackle from Northwestern, at 65. So, nice little draft for the Cardinals there. And then, hypothetically, Carson Beck, round 4.
Fun little round.
Yeah.
Round 4, Carson Beck. I'd be cool with that.
All right. We're going to do the Rams next. Going to go out of division order because they just got the next pick here in the draft at 13, and they had 29, which they traded for Trent McDuffie, which we kind of talked about already a little bit earlier. So we're looking at 13, 61, and 93. Okay, Mekhi Lemon's here. Love that. Jordan Tyson's here. Love that.
Love that.
I also like that Spencer Fanu and Monroe Freeling are here. So Rams' biggest needs are sitting pretty. I also I wouldn't rule out Kenyon Sadiq. We know the Rams have been really involved in like tight ends, but he drafted Terrence Ferguson, so I don't see it as much of a need, but I've seen a lot of people starting to mock Sadiq to them at times, but I'm not there. I would go
why not go get the guy that started over Sadiq last season in college? And with Terrence Ferguson, Sadiq, team him back up. But I think with them because they traded up for Terrence Ferguson as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's investing too much draft capital into a guy to give up on them after 1 season, maybe 2. I forget when Ferguson came out. I think it was last season.
He was a rookie last year.
But no, like you said, the receiver board fell phenomenally. The offensive tackle board fell phenomenally. So the Rams are sitting pretty here. Honestly, there are multiple ways to go. I do like the receiver pick a lot, but I think offensive line would be the way I would lean. Mm-hmm. You have an aging Stafford, and you still have Devontae Adams and Puka, who both are injury concerns, so I do see the need to go receiver, because both of those guys cannot play full seasons at this point. It just doesn't happen. But you got to protect Stafford. He was injured all of last season with his back injury, so he was just playing through it. The run game would benefit a lot from that. And I do think the Rams are going to use a lot of Kyron Williams and Blake Corum this season. So I think developing a nice run game through a good offensive line is kind of the way the Rams are gonna lean this season.
Mm-hmm. If we do go line, I would lead Fano over Freeling, just because I think Fano could play now. He also
could play now. He could play anywhere on that offensive line.
Whereas Freeling, do we really want to trust Matt Stafford to a guy who's a developmental tackle? I do remember we did pick Spencer Fano to the Panthers last time, but I think Fano is the pick here. It would be him or Lemon for me, just because I think Lemon's a better scheme fit for McVay than Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, I would agree to that. But no, I would go Fanu over Lemon.
Okay. All right, Spencer Fanu, offensive tackle from Utah. His arms measured in longer at his pro day. He was 32 and an eighth at the combine, and he came in at pro day at almost 33-inch arms. So you love that for a tackle. Second pick here, 61. Skylar Bell's here. I know you love Skylar Bell a little
I
bit
do
more
like
than me.
Sky
I
Bell.
do like Skylar Bell as well. I don't know if he's a second round guy. PFF says he is, according to their board, but I'm more comfortable with him in the third, but he's obviously not going to get to us at 93. But looking at the
No,
board, though, I don't really love it. So I think Skylar Bell's a good fit. I think Antonio Williams also fits here. I think he's going to go a lot higher than people think. I would have it down to those two guys being Skylar Bell and Antonio Williams.
Trotter still there?
Is Josiah Trotter is still here.
I don't hate that because if we kick linebacker, we're not going to get one in the third that we're happy with.
Yeah, we'll be talking about Kyle Lewis again.
To where the receivers, we might get one that we're okay with.
Okay.
And then we're hitting 3 of their needs in this draft that I think we'd be sitting pretty with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is a good chance that even a Zachariah Branch kind of falls to 93 potentially. Yeah. Deion Burks as well, even though Deion Burks, I'm way lower on him than you are. I would rather take Zachariah Branch, and I was even lower on him than consensus. But let's go with Josiah Trotter, the linebacker from Missouri. And then with our final pick here, 93 in the third round. Let's see how that receiver board fell for us. Not great.
I do like Malachi Fields. He's a borderline top 100 guy for me. I'm not going to lie.
He is in my top 100. I have him at 80. I just don't love Malachi Fields with the Rams, even though he is that prototypical, the Rams don't care about testing.
Well, now, we talked a lot about Nussmeier with Arizona. Is he still here?
Dude, Garrett Nussmeier is still on the board.
Now, how do we feel about Nussmeier here to back up Stafford for a year or two and then get a crack in the McVay offense?
I don't hate that. And then, because it's a third round pick, and if the Rams are in position to get one of the guys next year, they still can, and they just have a really good backup in Garrett Nussmeier, which I do think is Nussmeier's floor is just going to be a 10-year really backup quarterback who could be, start a year or two throughout the NFL. But I do think he's going to be a really valuable backup quarterback that I don't hate going him here just because I don't think they're going to address running back because they have Corum and Kyron Williams, and they drafted Jarquez Hunter last year, who I love. They shored up their corners through free agency and trades. I like DeJon Stribling. I think if I would lean a receiver, it would be him. But
I think the Rams put themselves in a position with solidifying a corner position early in free agents that they can do whatever they want in this draft. And I think drafting Nussmeier in the third is them kind of showing that, hey, our roster is...
Garoppolo still the backup?
I don't know, because I thought there was rumors of Garoppolo going to Arizona.
Stetson Bennett is their backup quarterback.
Ooh, I hated him coming out of Georgia. I'm not going to front. I think Nussmeier's leaps and bounds better than him.
Yeah, I think we can upgrade and just take Garrett Nussmeier.
And this gives him a chance to sit and really just think about what happened last year at LSU, why the step back happened, why he didn't take the steps forward that everyone projected him to take. And, oh no, you have to sit under Matt Stafford, the greatest quarterback that I've ever seen play in the last 10 years that isn't Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. And then, oh, by the way, you also have Sean McVay, the best offensive-minded coach in football. So that's a win-win for Garrett Nussmeier. So I like that pick a lot.
Jimmy Garoppolo is still a free agent, and there is talks the Rams might be bringing him back, but
not anymore. They got Garrett Nussmeier, baby. Yeah,
at this scenario, Nussmeier, and that also doesn't affect us. Jimmy Garoppolo could come back, and Nussmeier can just kind of be the clipboard guy, really just learn, be the third guy, and you move on from Stetson Bennett. Because a quarterback room of Garoppolo, Stafford, and Nussmeier looks great.
Yeah, I agree.
So there we go. We went Spencer Fanu, the offensive tackle, who could kick inside, but here with the Rams, he's going to be our right tackle. We went him at 13. Josiah Trotter, the linebacker from Missouri, Jeremiah's son, at 61 in the second. And then Garrett Nussmeier, quarterback from LSU at 93 in the third, A- draft there for the Rams. We're going to be higher on Nussmeier than PFF. They have him at 93.
Yeah.
He's in my top 75. I'm still in on Nussmeier. I did recently make the change though. Ty Simpson is my quarterback too, but I'm lower on Simpson than most.
Tomato.
Ty Simpson, I have him at like he's just inside my top 50. So it's not like I'm like Dan Orlovsky said he's the best quarterback in the draft, and that is a mind-blowing thing to say.
I think that's the same people that were really hyping up the JJ boat, bro. That like it happened real quick that, oh no, JJ McCarthy's shooting up draft boards. Oh no, JJ's actually like a really good developmental prospect. He might be the best quarterback in this draft. He's right there with Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams and Bo Nix and all
Drake
those.
May.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't really see it. Ty Simpson has a lot of JJ McCarthy characteristics to me that are just rubbing me the wrong way, dude. And I'm not gonna lie to you. As of right now, I still have Nussmeier as quarterback too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hey, more power. I think Nussmeier has a better NFL. Like, if I had to bank on who has the longer and better career, I would say Nussmeier. But I do think Simpson has a better ceiling in terms of being a starter potentially. But we'll see.
I just see Garrett Nussmeier having like a really Mac Jones-esque career, and I get that's not good.
That's who Ty Simpson reminds me of, and that maybe that's helmet scouting, because Mac Jones only had like 20 starts in college.
Yeah, it was a very short window for Mac Jones and the Alabama system. I think Nussmeier has a chance to be like you said, a 10-year guy in the league where he's starting some places. San Fran loves Mac Jones. They wanted like a second round pick for a team to even get a chance to trade for him. So they had a crazy high window on their backup quarterback. So I just think Nussmeier adds a lot to a team where Ty Simpson, I don't really think adds as much. Like, yeah, he might be a better quarterback prospect, but I think Nussmeier is a better locker room guy and quarterback. In a quarterback room, Nussmeier brings more to the table, in my opinion.
Speaking of Mac Jones, we're on to his team, the San Francisco 49ers. We got 2 picks here in the first 3 rounds. We got 27 and 58. The Niners not have a third?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
So we're looking at like offensive line, edge, secondary.
I was really hoping Omar Cooper fell here, but for whatever reason, PFF had the Bears take him at 25. Which
hell yeah, dude. Hey, they just got rid of DJ Moore. You got to fill that. You got to fill that hole. You think DJ Moore's the best receiver in football? So what are we talking about here, TJ?
I do. He's one of one. Okay. Tackle board. Ian Ochworth's here. Is he your does he succeed Trent Williams in the future?
He seems like a Niner. Like, he's got Niner vibes. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He's got Niner vibes. Okay. I would love to push for Denzel Boston, but he doesn't have Niner vibes. Like, the Niners need a big receiver, but I don't think
that's not true. They have Mike Evans, Theo.
Oh, they do have Mike Evans now. I forgot.
They have the prototypical big body receiver.
That they've never had one. So now they have Mike Evans. If you would have asked me, I would have been like, Mike Evans is still a buck.
Juwan Jennings still a free agent?
Yes. Last I heard,
How is that guy not signed somewhere?
There was some buzz that like the Chargers were looking at him, but I don't think anything ever came of it.
Well, no, they drafted Jordan Tyson, TJ. Don't you know? We just did the mock draft. They don't need a receiver anymore.
Yeah. Everything that I type when I type in Juwan Jennings is could Mike McDaniel reunite with one of his former players? So it does seem like the rumor front is on the Chargers with Jennings, but Ian Ochor, Caleb Lomu, I think both in play here. I also wouldn't rule out one of the edge guys. Zion Young, bigger edge. TJ Parker, like TJ Parker's an interesting case because like I think a lot of people are a little too low on him, but like he's not the same guy that we saw summer wise where like he's a top 10 dude, but like I think he was better than people think he was. Like I think there's a good chance TJ Parker is still a first round pick come April, and we're pretty much 1 month away. We're 30 days away from the draft, so super
I think TJ Parker still goes first, where Peter Woods does not. I think Woods falls out of the first. I do think Parker goes first, so I'm leaning between Parker and the tackle from Arizona State, Max. I'm not even going to pronounce his last name.
I believe is how.
Yeah, I'll let TJ take the ball on that one. But those would be the two guys I'm going. I think the Niners are just going to go like offensive, defensive line heavy throughout this draft and just really draft guys that help out the team right now.
So they drafted Mikael Williams last year. And like, I think TJ Parker's on par with him as a prospect. They're both kind of similar. I think they're both really good run defenders with, can you get, untap that pass rush ability? So maybe it's kind of redundant to get both of them. That, like, I don't like Iheanacho as much as, like I have him he's like right outside my top 50. So like I'm way lower on him than consensus, but I think the NFL's going to like him. That like, I think he's going to be a late first to like mid second at worst.
I think he's a first round guy come draft day. The NFL drafts linemen fast, and when you are a middle of
and they fall off quick.
That's what
class.
I mean. And when you're like middle to late first, early second, you're usually a first round pick guaranteed come draft day. A lot of those guys get bumped up into the first round, so I think it's either him or Parker.
Let's go with Iheanacho. He's not a guy that we've drafted at all. We've brought him up a few times today, and this is our chance to get him. So we went offensive tackle Max Iheanacho, first round to the Niners at 29, and then they got pick 58. Your guy, Eli Stowers, is sitting here. George Kittle, he's always banged up. He's all reliable, but his health is kind of deteriorating. I like Jennings Dunker as a guard. I know they have him listed as a tackle because that's where he played in college, but I think he's a guard at the NFL level. I also like Keontae Scott, who we've brought up a few times here. I think he's a safety corner nickel hybrid type that you can kind of get multiple roles out of. And if we did want to go edge, Danny Dennis Sutton does fit that kind of bigger edge that we were kind of talking about with TJ Parker. But do you like any of the receivers here? Like Zachariah Branch, Antonio Williams are kind of smaller guys. Deion Burke's all the best names on the board.
No, I would probably lean either Scott, the corner from Miami, or Dunker, tackle guard from Iowa.
Or do we want to go with Eli Stowers?
I think that's the fun pick, but I think getting one of those other guys would be a more realistic pick. More so Dunker, I'm not going to lie. I think going guard tackle with their two picks here would be something this team would really benefit from. You got Brock Purdy works best when he has more than 4 to 5 seconds in a pocket. When you start pressuring Purdy is when he starts crumbling. We've seen it throughout his career. He's a completely different guy under pressure. So that offensive line's decrepit and not healthy all the time.
Yeah, I like Dominic Puny, who's their right guard, and Niners fans, you can say something in the comments, but I have no idea who their left guard is. I've never heard of him. Connor Colby. They drafted him in the 7th round in 2025, last year.
Sounds like a chance for
Jennings Dunker
to start.
They went to the same school, both from Iowa. So they both have they might be like buddies. He's got a mullet just like Jennings Dunker. I'm just looking at him right now. So I don't hate going Dunker. Hey, let's shore up the line. We got weapons in the offseason. Mike Evans, who apparently is there, and I just forgot. George Kittle's still there. Christian McCaffrey.
Ricky Pearsall
are there. Maybe Ricky Pearsall stays healthy this year. Maybe there's a chance Juwan Jennings is back. Who knows what's going on with Brandon Ayuk? But the weapons and stuff are there that now let's get Purdy some, much needed protection. We upgrade right tackle with Iheanacho, and let's go with Jennings Dunker and upgrade left guard.
Yeah, if you can walk out of the draft with 2 starting offensive linemen, possibly, that's something that a team could really build around. So you got to keep Purdy up, dude. Purdy needs to have protection. You also just need to have bodies. This team's constantly injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just last season. That's been this team's MO for a lot of years going now. So
yeah, I don't know what's in the water down there in San Francisco.
Yeah, and we send Mike Evans there, who has the shiftiest hamstrings known to man. Him and Julio Jones are built on the same hamstring.
He's just linking up with McCaffrey's guy. how do I siphon this energy? And then R.I.P. Christian McCaffrey, because that's where he's got all the siphoned energy, and now Mike Evans is going to take it from him.
I do, man. I'm excited for that offense though. Evans, Purdy, McCaffrey.
PFF loved
George
our
Kittle.
just draft meet with Ian Ochoa and
As
Dunker.
they should have.
A minus draft there.
That's what that team needs.
Yeah. All right. Let's finish off this episode of the West Mock Badness with your Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks.
Shout out Logan.
Yeah. So
our resident Seahawks fan of the pod.
Yep. So we'll be end up talking running back, I'm sure. Seahawks only have 4 picks in the whole draft, which kind of crazy. So we're picking 3 of their 4 picks, 32, 64, and 96. Should have just done all the rounds and just made that pick at 180 something. All right.
Seahawks.
Last pick of the first round, Seattle. Team that could just kind of luxury picks.
Yeah, I think like running back, maybe interior offensive line still.
You cannot
secondary.
talk me into a running back here at 32.
No, I'm not saying 32, but Mike Washington in the second, baby. It's already calling my name.
Logan put out a comment. He loves Jadarian Price, so if he is there in the second, I will push for him just for Logan.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Colton Hood, he's fast, good athlete. Pregnon, guard still a need here for Seattle. Brandon Cisse, also real good size. There at 6 foot 190. Would love D'Angelo Ponce, just him and Devin Witherspoon just being just small, gnarly dogs just running this defense. But the chances of D'Angelo Ponce going in the first round are slim to none, as much as I do love his game. Chris Johnson, that's my guy. I don't love how the corner board, Colton Hood, maybe if I had to pick one, but what's the edge board looking like? They lost Boye Mafe in free agency. Zion Young, he's the NFL seems to love him. Connor Rogers of the Stock Exchange has him at 18 on his big board. I know McShay at one point had him in the top 20 of one of his mocks, and he's that bigger, you're getting a guaranteed run defender with Zion Young. So I'm not as high as him as some of these other guys, but I do think he fits kind of the NFL is going to love him.
Young also had a really good pass rush win rate of it was 17 and a half, 70% of snaps he was winning the pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
So he also does offer a little bit of pass rush upside and an elite run stopper at this point. He had 8 sacks this season. It was a career high. He really took a jump forward with his pass rush.
He's a dog too. I don't know if you've seen he did a coin flip for one of the overtime games, and he was hyped up about it. Check that out on YouTube. That goes to anybody. The Zion Young hype up on the coin toss in overtime. So, I'm cool if we're going edge, going with Zion Young here. He's one of the guys that we haven't really talked about.
Hey, I'm cool with Young because it also fills a little bit of a need. Like you said, they lost Mafe and free agents. And then this just gives us a chance to hit those lesser positions in this draft class. The running back class isn't deep. They could upgrade there. If one of the tight ends falls, maybe upgrade tight end. Stuff like that. That's stuff you want to hit second, third round. You don't want to be hitting it in the first in this draft class.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just saw Chris Johnson's name slide by to the Eagles. I was really hoping the slim chance he would have made it here to 64 for us. Well, Jadarian Price is not here. He went somewhere. He went to the Vikings at 49. My worst nightmare.
My worst nightmare.
So I have Mike Washington in my 60s on my big board. We both have him at RB2. I think he is pretty similar stylistic-wise to Ken Walker, and he's the perfect counterpart for Zach Charbonnet.
I agree. I think Coleman isn't similar to Charbonnet, but if you had to compare Washington and Coleman, Coleman is more Charbonnet out of Mike Washington. Mike Washington would be a really good replacement for Ken Walker. He's a quick one-cut running back who's going to hit holes explosively, very similar to how Ken Walker ran. So,
yeah, so
I love Mike Washington.
Go Mike Washington. All right.
I love that pick.
Mike Washington Jr. to Seattle at 64. And then they got pick 98 to round out their draft. I think we're going to be looking corner here. Maybe check out the interior offensive line. We brought
and
up
it falls very similar every time.
Don't hate Ted Hurst here.
I don't hate the Ted Hurst pick.
They can kind of fuck around with this pick.
They can, yeah, because Cooper Kupp's obviously old.
Sicario Davis. I don't know if he goes top 100, but man, is he just not a Tariq Woolen replacement? 6'4", 200 pounds. And freak athlete. Like, he just feels like a Seahawk that I'm okay going with him here because we haven't addressed the corner need. And I kind of have him rated over Malik Muhammad and Will Lee on my big board. So he is my second rated corner. I like Charles Demings a little bit more than him, but I think Demings is probably more a day 3 guy, just smaller school. Those guys kind of fall, but it wouldn't surprise me because Sicario Davis tested really well. He's big, he's athletic, that he kind of goes a little earlier than projection, and he is the prototypical big Seahawks corner.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a chance that he would go over those guys just based off the way he runs and how, like, his size. I would be cool pulling the trigger here on Davis because he also had really good run defense stops. So Seattle loves corners that can tackle. He's not afraid to get low, square up with running backs, and just make a tackle. And that's kind of Seattle ball, dude.
Yeah,
so
it's the first time we've even brought him up. I don't think we've touched base on Sicario Davis. So yeah, let's do it. A little bit of a reach, so PFF's going to hate it, but I think Sicario Davis is a really good fit for the Mike McDonald Seahawks scheme.
Yeah, and again, it's a bit of a reach, but I highly doubt he's there with their other pick. It's like 180, 170, something like that. It's he's not going to be there. So if you want a quarter that can tackle, you got to pick him in the top 100. So, because like we said, Seattle has one pick outside of the top 100. So he's just not going to be there.
What a crazy draft selection. They're here living that Minnesota Viking lifestyle. Where
very interesting.
This is the draft to have no picks, though.
Especially for a team that hasn't done terribly much of anything this offseason except re-sign JSN. Shout out. Get that money.
Also re-sign.
$44 million a year.
Brought back Rashid Shaheed.
Yep. Which I'm not overly... I really don't. Yeah, special team wise, he brings a lot to the table. But I don't love the guy as a wide receiver. Like, yeah, he's okay at the end of the day. But I don't think he's anything that's stopping them from drafting a wide receiver if one falls in the draft.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's our Seahawks draft. 32, he went Zion Young, big edge rusher from Missouri. Mike Washington Jr., Arkansas running back at 64. Sorry, Logan, Jadarian Price was not available. And then to round it out, a little bit of reach, Sicario Davis, the corner from Washington at 96, but I think he's a really good scheme fit there for the Seahawks. And hey, we got a B-. Not a bad little go round there for the Seahawks.
Yeah, no, I would be, if I was a Seahawks fan, let us know, Logan, what you think. But I like Young a lot. He's a fringe first round guy. You're getting RB2 at the back end of the second at that point. And then you're getting a really big, lengthy corner who can run with the best of them and square down and make tackles in the box. I would be cool with that draft for sure.
So there we go. If you're a fan of any of the NFC West teams, Seahawks, Niners, Rams, Cardinals, or the AFC West, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos with your one pick. Sorry.
It's not our fault.
Yeah. Let us know if you would have won a different route or if you like the draft class, whatnot, or even if you're just a fan of the draft, like what you would have done there. Shout that out in the comments. Anything else before we wrap up Mock Madness Tuesday, just to do Mock Madness Thursday with the NFC and AFC North? Nothing else? Good to go?
No, I think we can wrap up the draft episode.
Joe Flacco re-signed with the Bengals as we were recording.
One year deal. The oldest man possible.
Yeah. Hey. All right. For Nick, I'm Theo. This is Mock Madness. This is the Drafted Up Podcast. We'll catch you guys on Thursday. Adios.
Bye.